Chapter 4. Reality. Earth is home to billions of people. The reality that surrounds them is the same, common to all. Yet the people of Earth live in a world and reality all their own. Their beliefs are individual, diverse, one from the other. Yet each one believes they alone know the truth, convinced that all others are wrong. Reality awareness. Most distinguishing of all man's inherent characteristics is his ability to recognize all that exists as a collective unit of space and energy, whose relationship and exchange is known as reality. Reality, as a place, surrounds us all. In every direction it is infinite, engulfing everything matter and space and creating the motions of time. Every able-minded being is aware of reality. No difference in religion, creed, or country expels its existence from shared understanding and agreement. Absent perspective, reality is a whole, universal, all-inclusive, containing all known and unknown existence. A mysterious landscape of matter and time, and anything else not considered. But we never leave the island of consider. Reality is unchanged in its factual presence, no matter the angle of view. Whereas perspective is the matter of our individual, and is not universal. Perspective is personal, the rendered combination of line of sight and personal conviction. Our questions can't never be answered, because they don't exist to reality, they exist to us. Where everything is not everything, but the matter of perspective equation. The dismissal of truth that prefers granules of sand, but denies the beach. Perspective is a wildly deceptive and arrogant assumption, based solely on interpretation. An interpretation based on our sense of value. A sense perverted, gauged with bias and a severe misrepresentation of fact. 3 dogs, all brothers, live on the same farm. One dog is forced to fend for himself, while the other 2 are given shelter and a division of lawn and accommodation. The dog who is forced to fend eats only if he can find it. He has no shelter from the weather, no love shown him, and no one to console him. Of the 2 dogs shown love, one is given all he can eat, with no provision skimped. He has everything, in abundance, to overflowing. The other dog is given only enough. He has a moderate amount of accommodation, the falling apart shed to live in, no blankets for warmth, an occasional bit of attention. Attention that is kind, but very brief, and he eats only what is given him, and what is given him is just enough to keep him alive. He has less than the one, and more than the other. Each of these dogs will gauge and weigh their own value, each seeing it through the attentions given them. The one dog will curse the day he was born, and understand in himself that you get nothing you don't take. He also has no experience with joy or love, and wouldn't know what they were if he saw them. The dog who has everything will assume everything, and have no understanding of want. It's not his fault that he has everything. But how does he understand reality? He has no way to reason, no way to evaluate anything. It all seems poised to serve him. The dog who has only enough will weigh his worth with a sense of want, but a gratitude that neither of the others can know. Because he has been given little, while everything is within his sight, he will understand in himself that his provisions are equal to his worth, and his worth is his place. He will cast himself, seeing all else, through that cast, through the limitation forced on him. Each of the 3 dogs is living a light. Each is denied the truth, and each has assumed that reality and their self is what it is, through the eyes of their experience, with none of them able to see beyond themselves. Each trapped in the unique line of sight imposed on them. Perceived reality is a mental concept, an imagination that is built around perceived understanding of the mechanics and dynamics of known and unknown existence. But it is flawed. It cannot, no matter how hard we try, encompass the full range of reality's actual substance and makeup. We must assume an idea of what reality is, and we cannot guarantee our understanding of reality as fact and true, making reality a matter of personal acceptance, and declaring that each and every one of us live in our own perception of reality, with no 2 persons' understandings being identical, or certain. Personal reality alone We reside in reality, cut off and isolated. The universe surrounds us, but we cannot know it. We live in our own world, trapped in our own person, separated from everything and anyone. Certain reality exists, but it does not exist to us. It exists around us, but it does not exist to us, or in us. And any state of reality that we perceive to be true, is going to be flawed and incomplete, no matter how true it seems, because our awareness is cut off from its true being. Common reality, the painting sits on display in an art gallery. No one knows the painter. They all look, all reason. Everyone sees the same painting, yet all have a different reaction to it. They search themselves in the quiet of their minds and hearts, to know what it is they feel of the painting. Hatred, contempt, love, admiration. It doesn't matter. Observation doesn't take the place for fact. And truthfully, no matter how beautiful or awkward the painting is to us, the colors and the placements on the canvas are simply factors that exist, regardless to admiration and criticism. We may all look differently on reality, and according to our own feelings and thoughts, see what we see of it, but truth remains. Reality is reality. It is the same reality, no matter who is looking at it. It doesn't belong to any of us. To me, it's a masterful montage of rhythm and dance. It's like a beautiful but complex painting, full of color and pattern, the subject of criticism and praise from people of every nation and ethnic background. Careless reality, reality ours with imposing regal and eternal allure, that interrogates our deep, invokes our awe, and leaves us intellectually and articulately speechless, but bold with wonder and astonishment. The point of no return, the universe, and all that is in it, is made of energy. Energy that exists in the motion of form, power, and source. To be very general, every piece of it, and everything in reality, is energy. Form, this energy, has a tangible body, and requires energy, in the form of power, to maintain that body. Power, power, is the energy that empowers form to function. Source, source, is where power is generated. Sometimes a combination of powers itself. These three are an intermingled cycle that allows them to maintain each other in a perpetual union of exchange, such as life and death. Or more clearly, the life and death of any of the three, especially form. It's a constant and universal ballet. The formation, breakdown, dispersal, and reconstructing of molecular reality. All energy is powered by a source, but every source is made able by another opposing or complementary exchange. You are unable to break the cycle without creating a void, which does exist. But the point is, there is always need of a different energy, different power, different source. The underlying structure of reality requires a source, power and energy, that has no beginning, needs no outside influence to maintain its own existence, and that points to the possibility of divinity. But who could define such a presence? Let alone prove it. Everything comes from something, and something is eternal. The question is, what? Of course that's just speculated theory, but who can afford to ignore looking into it? There is no such thing as eternal gas. Gas is molecular, and requires the same consideration to form that anything molecular does. You simply cannot escape the notion that something complex and possibly mental is there prior to structure. This is the point where trying to define reality takes a turn from fact to theory. The breaking point, in the interest of truth, one searches for fact and clears the way of unessential debris. Humanity faces a fact-knowing handicap. It cannot, however, have all the facts. Instead, it constructs the most clear, though incomplete, picture it can, from what is able to be gathered. Truth-seeking is a mental war on reality, with a lot of walking, arguing, and mud wrestling. And it happens to every person that takes on this war, that they find themselves face to face with an unknown. They lack the power to engage, or measure in weight whatsoever. It's like a person who has set out to walk across the greatest desert in the world. They have a strategy, a plan, all the essentials they can carry. But the way is tedious. with hardship and challenge always holding a conversation with each other, with the persevering trigger as their interpreter. The limits of endurance are pressed to breaking. Will and surrender are fought with strength that doesn't exist. It becomes a contest of no longer existing, just to spite the very romanticism of not existing. The truth seeker digs in running on fumes. They push through, having turned into something more than will or machine, or even spite of self, only to find themselves staring face to face with the deepest blue ocean in all the world. Fate laughs at them. Insanity breaks into their mind, the greatest asset and instinct of survival, as the salt in the water forbids them from drinking it. And now everything attacks reason, the desert, the sun, the ocean, the air, and even their own beaten to-pulse soul. It's the single point where everything stops, and time and reality suddenly conspire against you, ridiculing you with an impossibility that doubles as fact. And you have to accept it, even though its weight is unbearably cruel upon your conscience.